If you live outside Nigeria, even if it's in Cotonou that you live in, as long as your passport is stamped whenever you leave or come into Nigeria, you classify as a Nigerian in the diaspora. You classify as someone living abroad. So if you live abroad like me, but you're invested in Nigeria, you have a lot of links to Nigeria, your family members are in Nigeria, you have a business running in Nigeria, what else? You have rental properties in Nigeria, that's a popular one. You are liable to pay tax one way or the other. This video is for you. I've screened everything, brought everything that concerns you about the new tax law into this video. So please, let's get started. Number one, when you live outside Nigeria, you can classify as a resident or a non-resident, depending on how many days you spend in Nigeria. This is just one instance. There are other instances, but just this one. If you spend more than 183 days outside Nigeria, you classify as non-resident. If you spend more than 183 days in Nigeria, you classify as resident. You may ask, how can somebody living abroad spend more than 183 days in Nigeria? Let me give you an example. Let's say you're working in tech. Yeah, we'll use tech as example. Or you're somebody that is doing your own online business. It's quite easy for you to pack your bags every winter. Yeah, we all know that for those who live in the temperate region, during the winter, it can be very harsh for us Nigerians that live at the equator. You can pack your bags, go down to Nigeria. Maybe let's say you pack your bags this October and go down to Nigeria and spend October, November, December, January, February, March, April. By early May, you've already overstayed your welcome. Yeah, you've stayed more than 183 days in Nigeria, so you classify as resident. So all the money you make while working in Nigeria, because for the tech person, you stay in Nigeria and you're doing your job remotely, because all you need is a laptop and internet connection, and office don't set be that. Any money you make while working from home in Nigeria to whichever company you're working for is liable to tax. Yeah, you automatically become a resident. And if the taxman comes after you, they're going to win that case, because they see on your passport the day you entered Nigeria and you haven't left 6 months later. So yeah, this is a situation where you don't work for any company in Nigeria, but you still get to pay the tax for the job you did while being inside Nigeria, because you, the person, the brain that is doing the work, is inside Nigeria. I hope it makes sense now. So make sure as much as possible, as much as you go home to enjoy Nigerian weather and Nigerian food, make sure you don't stay more than 183 days in Nigeria. You can enter Cotonou for a few days or enter Ghana for a few days and come back. Keep watching, because the fact that you don't spend more than 183 days within Nigeria does not mean that you are completely exempt from tax. The next one, as a Nigerian in the diaspora, you don't live in Nigeria, but you frequently send money to Nigeria to invest in FGN savings bond, invest in treasury bills, commercial papers, because the rates offered for these investments are juicy. You can't get those rates anywhere in the world. So you do that all the time and you're wondering if you should pay tax. Yes, you will pay tax for those that the government say we should pay tax on. For instance, treasury bills, you pay tax for that. When you invest in the shares of companies and they pay you dividends at the end of every year, or for those of them that pay dividends every 6 months, when they pay you dividends, you pay tax on that. You already pay tax on that. We have always paid tax on that. If you have been investing in Nigeria before this new tax law, you will know that we have been paying withholding tax on dividends, withholding tax on treasury bills. Treasury bills is yes and no sometimes. But recently in September, they announced that we will start paying withholding tax on treasury bills again. Commercial papers, we've always paid withholding tax on commercial papers. Mutual funds, we've always paid withholding tax on your earnings. All these things are earnings, on your earnings. They're not the capital. Nobody touches your capital. earnings, tax earnings, tax earnings is always like that. Is that thing an earning? Yes, it's taxable. FGN savings bond has always been tax exempt, so no taxes on that. So even if you live outside Nigeria or within Nigeria and you're investing in FGN savings bond, no tax on that. But every other thing where the government takes away the withholding tax before you paid your money is known as being taxed at source. And that's the final tax you pay on that thing. And something I didn't mention, your savings account. If you have a savings account in Nigeria and you frequently send money there and you gain interest from there, you also see, go and check this month's statement, you also see that they deduct withholding tax from the interest you earn on the balance of your savings account each month. So that is also taxation at source. So that's the final tax. Nobody will come and tax you again after you've paid withholding tax. The next one, for those that invest in shares, again, if you say, I know they do again, I want to sell my shares, and you sell the shares you hold with a Nigerian company, as long as the money realized from selling those shares is not more than 150 million naira, you cannot pay tax on that. You are exempt from tax. The money realized is not more than 150 million naira, and the gain realized from selling those shares. So these are two different things. The gain realized is not more than 10 million naira. Because normally, for them to calculate the gain, they have to go back to when you bought those shares. You can imagine shares of, for instance, shares of this first bank that I sold recently that I bought in 2006. How are they going to know how much I bought it back then? I mean, I can look for the papers, but lots of people do not know where they kept all those application forms till date. And even if you have the application form, we have to talk about bonus shares you earned all through the years. I don't know how they're going to do that one, but yeah, the law says that as long as the money you realize from selling those shares in a 12-month period is not more than 150 million naira, and the gain realized from that sale is not more than 10 million naira, you are tax exempt. Then the big one, rental property. Flo, am I going to pay tax on my rent in a house I have in Nigeria? Am I exempt from rent? Yeah, it's an income. You're supposed to pay taxes on the rent you collect. But the good thing is that for rental property, there's quite a good number of deductibles. I'm going to make a different video, a dedicated video on that, because a lot of you, you need to come and see my inbox, in my email. Flo, rental property, how is expected to pay rent? Did they give me money to build the house? No, they won't give you the money to build the house. No, but once that house is inside Nigeria and it's making money for you inside Nigeria, you're going to pay taxes on that. But yeah, there are a lot of deductibles. You can deduct money for renovations. You can deduct a lot of things. Any money you spend in keeping the property in livable condition can be deducted, before you pay your tax. So just stand by. We're going to make a dedicated video for landlords. I know that you guys are waiting. We are coming. When that video is ready, you will see a link pop up here to see the deductibles. All the deductibles that you can make before you pass the income, the taxable income, through the tax table. If you sell your personal house, you do not pay tax on the gains of selling that house. It's in the law that you can sell one personal property. Note the keyword personal. It has to be a house you live in. You can sell it, one house in a lifetime, without paying any capital gains taxes on it. But if you sell a commercial property, be it a rental property, a warehouse, lock-up shops, what else? If you sell a commercial property, anything that you make money from, any building that you make money from, you're going to pay capital gains tax on it. Right now, in the current tax law, you get charged 10% flat rate capital gains tax on when you sell a commercial property. But come 2026, in the new tax law, that money you made from selling a property, like the gain you made from selling a commercial property, will be passed through the tax table. I'm telling you, it's a lot of tax. It's a lot of tax, man. This one is not fair on people that are selling commercial properties. I'm telling you. Talking about commercial property, the same goes for when you sell land. When you sell a piece of land, for those of you that are doing land banking, you have a lot of land. When you sell land, you pay capital gains tax on the gain as well. When you sell a piece of land that is in the same premises as your personal home, you don't get to pay capital gains tax. Let's give an example. You bought 2 plots of land a long time ago and you built your personal house in one corner of the piece of land, yeah? And later, maybe next year, you want to sell the other plot. So you can put a dividing wall between the two and sell the other one. Yeah, it counts because it's regarded as part of your personal house. Yeah, but if the land is somewhere else, far away, it's not adjoining, you have to pay capital gains tax on that. If you live abroad but you own an industry within Nigeria, you are liable to tax. The kind of tax you will pay depends on the nature of the industry, the type of industry, what either your manufacturing industry. Are you a food manufacturing industry? You may be VAT exempt, or you may be zero rated VAT. If you're in the agric industry, you're VAT exempt for life and tax exempt for the first 5 years of setting up your industry. Yeah, they want to really promote food production. They want to encourage a lot of people to go into agric production. Yeah, so maybe that's something to look into. So you will get a lot of tax break if you're in the agric industry, but I think medicine as well. And what else? Yeah, somebody asked me a logistic business. Yeah, you're going to be paying taxes. If you own a event place, you have an event place in Nigeria and people are managing it for you. As long as that business is in Nigeria, providing service to people that live in Nigeria, you're making income from Nigeria. So you're going to pay tax on that. Also, the way you pay tax depends on if you registered a business name for that company or you registered a limited liability company for that company. These are two different things, but you're liable to tax one way or the other. It's very complex, so another video will be made for that. If you live outside Nigeria but you offer, let's say, online services where those that live in Nigeria pay you for those services. Let's say that you're doing a course now and you collect the money through a website that is resident in Nigeria. So those in Nigeria will have to pay you through that website, a payment portal, or maybe they transfer money to your bank account in Nigeria. That's income from services provided. So you're going to pay tax on that. In fact, you have to file for tax. Yeah, because the tax on that kind of income is not deducted at source. So you have to self-declare at the end of each tax year. Nigerian tax year runs from January to December, and you're expected to file for your taxes between January and March 31st. After that, there will be penalties. So where should we file these taxes when the time comes? The federal government of Nigeria said that they are trying to unify taxation in the meantime. So when everything is ready, they're going to give us one link where we're supposed to file taxes. They say, okay, if you're doing this, file taxes here. If you're doing that, for instance, if you have a rental property, this is who you should pay your tax to, whether it's the state government or the federal government. At least you pay tax once, not being doubly taxed by the federal government in this side, the state government is. So they're trying to unify it, and then they will bring out a link for us, which I will share here. For tax identification number, assuming you don't have a TIN already. Yeah, if you have been paying tax in Nigeria, you should already have a TIN by now. But assuming you don't have a TIN, they said that in the future, they're going to start using NIN. Eventually, NIN will become your tax identification number. But for those who already have TIN, they will continue to use TIN. All of us will be here next year. Let's see how these things will work out. What if you don't want to do the filing yourself, just like in other countries? They say that they will make a list. They will have a list of certified or approved tax accountants somewhere on the internet very soon, so that you can go there and check. You know how now, if you want to register with a stockbroker, you go to SEC website to the list of their approved stockbrokers. All the licensed stockbrokers are on that list. So anybody you see on that list, you know that they are qualified to do the job. So when the time comes, the Nigerian Revenue Service, they will have a list of certified tax accountants you can go to. Just like now you have certified tax accountant that can file for tax for you. You know, they have access to the website to file for tax for you. So when the time comes, they will have this same list. So you can go there and check and then contact the person and they will file the tax for you. They will also advise you on deductibles. Yeah, especially if you have a rental property, you have a business in Nigeria. The best route to go is through a tax accountant, because those people are in a best position. You know, there are tax accountants that are experienced in tax, and then there are niche tax accountants that are experienced in rental properties, or the ones that are experienced in certain kinds of businesses. So with time, it will become word of mouth. You know, your friend will say, oh, I'm into this business and this is the person I'm using and they're doing a great job. They tell me all the things that I am, you know, eligible to deduct and all that, and then you go to that person, just like with stockbrokers, where people recommend stockbrokers to their friends if they're good. So eventually it will boil down to word of mouth, you know, the ones that are good in certain niches. Well, as with all taxable income, this list is not exhaustive. This list is just based on the most questions that I've been getting. So I thought that I should come here and make a video directed only at those outside Nigeria, because a lot of people left Nigeria, but they have not really left. Anyway, all I have to say is stay tuned, subscribe to this channel if you want to know anything that I know about this. I'm invested in this tax law for myself, even not just for content making purposes. Yeah, for myself, because I need to know what's going on. I need to know what I'm entitled to. All right, bye. See you in another video.